Hey, welcome back to Veefour. And today I found some old footage from last year from when I did my trip around Vietnam, and I've been wondering what to do with it, so I've just spliced together some footage where we left Hue City, setting off from the Century Hotel to travel down to Saigon, which would have been our journey's end. Vietnamese money is hilarious. I mean, look at that. It looks like I've got like a millionaire there, and I think I've probably got about the equivalent of $5 American dollars in my hand, about £3 UK sterling.
Come on.
But gas was cheap, which is always a good thing. Now the plan, after negotiating this multi-intersection highway here, which kind of makes you feel like you're taking part in the world's biggest synchronized bike show, but all you do is you just pick yourself a bearing and just head on it. Observe the hell.
That's how you do it.
That is indeed how you do it, Dave. Quite right. Now the plan was to head down to some coastal resorts, and just sort of chill out for a couple of days at each one on the way down. But what we'd done was, or what we had failed to do, was just fully grasp just how big a country Vietnam actually is, and we realised quite soon that we had not allowed ourselves anything like enough time to do it all. So it was basically just run down south. We run down the coast for a little way, a couple of overnight stops on the coast, and then it was just picking up the Ho Chi Minh Highway. Look, Mom, no hands. And the balmy, sunny weather of the north gives way to the very frequent monsoons which were hitting the Midlands and the south of the country at the time we were there. But no sooner as it's on you, it's finished and it's back to dusty roads again. Now from here on in, the footage is of the Ho Chi Minh Highway. Now we were on there for about 800 miles, and I have to say that the Ho Chi Minh Highway at the minute, well, as of 2014, was just basically an 800-mile road work. They are widening it and improving the highway along its entire length. Now, the way that they've gone about doing it is the central government tasked the sort of interior provinces and the towns that the road goes through to dig it up prior to it being widened and resurfaced, and that once they had fulfilled their contract of digging the road up using local labour, then they would get paid for it. So what did they do? Every single man and jack with a pickaxe and a spade went out and dug the road up, and it was pretty much like it is here, in some places considerably worse, for hundreds and hundreds of miles, and we had days and days of it. This bit of tarmac here that my mate's riding on really was the exception rather than the rule. You just had to enjoy it while it was there, because it was so infrequent.
Okay.
Now this poor lady had a bit of a fall and dropped a rather sizable load that she was carrying on this little scooter. Now these bags of root vegetables were quite heavy, and she was struggling to pick them up, and indeed she wouldn't have been able to pick it up if we hadn't stopped and helped her. But we did help because we're nice people. But this load that she was carrying was by no way at all the biggest load we saw. Some of the things you see the scooters carrying in Vietnam is amazing. I was flipping through a book at the airport called Bikes of Burden on the way back, and it was, if you see it or if you Google it, it's well worth a look through the images in it, because some of the loads that these scooters carry is nothing short of miraculous. And she was heading off to market, and just one of the many frequent stops we made at the side of the road at these they're like pop-up cafes, and they were excellent because they sold in abundance these small, immature, unripe coconuts, which are just absolutely full of juice, each one of them about 1.5 pints in it, and they cost pennies and were really refreshing. So we would just chill out in the hammocks, drink coconut juice, and then resume the journey. It was superb. And again, we had days and days of this kind of surface, and at the time it was hard work. It really was. I mean, in hindsight it was kind of good fun, but at the time it was really tiring because we were on little 125s, they're not off-road bikes, and you feel every single little bump in the road, and there's plenty of them. And after about a week of it, I think what it was, our internal organs had been shaken about that much by the riding we were doing day in, day out. We both started to feel really ill. It was like sick. And it wasn't the food, that wasn't a problem. We was drinking enough. I think I may have had a little touch of sunstroke, but you understand why motocross riders wear kidney belts, because your kidneys are just being shaken about, your liver's being jiggled about in your stomach, and it's very unpleasant, and only to be enjoyed in hindsight. Now this was a very rare stretch where they were actually resurfacing the road, but they would do this, they would lay the hardcore down and roll it flat, and then they would move on and go somewhere else. All the traffic would move back onto this section, but because it hadn't been metalled with tarmac, they would just churn it all back up again. Such a very poorly planned civil project, and I hope they get it done, but I think they'll be doing it for like 10 years. So pro tip for going to Vietnam, rent a dirt bike. That's what I'll do next time. Back in the rain again, but even when it's raining, the vista of Vietnam more than makes up for the discomfort that you feel when you're riding around on the roads. I mean, it's still a largely rural country, and it is just stupendously beautiful country and terrain to drive through and to ride through. And it's that makes it all worth it. And finally here we are in Saigon, or Hue City to give it its more modern name. And we arrived again on a very rainy day.
Should we let the girlie through? Yep. Go for it.
Now, riding in Saigon as compared to Hanoi, I found Saigon a little bit more stressful. Not that it's any more busy, because it isn't. There's still the same volume of traffic, but in Saigon there's more cars on the road than there are in Hanoi. In Hanoi, only maybe 2 or 3% of the actual road traffic is four wheels or more. It's largely just a city full of scooters, but Saigon, lots more cars, and I think the riders and drivers in Hanoi seem to be of a higher quality than they are in Saigon. In Hanoi, you kind of feel like you're part of a fish in a shoal or a bird in a flock. You keep yourself like a relative distance from your nearest neighbours, and you don't rear observe, you just look ahead, and it all just sort of moves along as a sort of like symbiotic entity. whereas in Saigon it's a little bit more chaotic, and you kind of get the impression it's kind of more dangerous. I mean, it certainly looks dangerous, but in Hanoi it didn't feel as dangerous as it did here. But in any city in Vietnam, the rules of the road are very vague notions. Signposts and traffic lights are kind of more of a guide than an absolute law.
I mean, it's time we ask someone.
Yes, I think it is time we ask someone.
Yeah, if we're going that little side street, and then we could ask someone there, can't we?
Yeah, that was one of the best ideas of the day. But here we are waiting at red traffic lights. Now the traffic lights, especially in Saigon and Hanoi, they're more of a sort of green means go, yellow means go, red means stop, but only if you really, really want to. If you don't want to, it's okay, you don't have to stop.
Oh, we have to go round.
We were getting nearer. That's the river in front of us. It was on here somewhere. We should have turned left, not right. My indecisiveness there meant that we've gone the wrong way.
Yeah, we need to go back that way. We could do a Hue here.
I love the way he thinks I can actually hear him.
We need to go back down that way and then round, but we could do a Hue here and that'll bring us round. Yeah, let's do it.
Every credit has got to go to Luke, my buddy there. I would have taken all day to find the hotel, but he must have some kind of built-in sat-nav or something, because he had a rough idea where he was going. I mean, he has been to Saigon before, about 10 years ago, as part of a world tour. But even so, he kind of led it. As soon as we reached Saigon, he just led the way, and he was bang on.
Uh-oh. Too late, we'll have to go around.
Go around we did. And up ahead, just shortly, we turn into the Liberty Central Hotel, which is the bit of luxury that we afforded ourselves at the end of the holiday after dossing down in guest houses for the duration. And as we turn into the Liberty Central here, this marks the end of our tour of Vietnam. With very mixed emotions, if I remember correctly, because I was just so happy that we'd reached the end of the Ho Chi Minh Highway, and that this was now the last time I'd have to ride that 125. But sad, because we're at the end of a real adventure, and it had been such an eye-opener, because Vietnam is superb. The people are amazing. They cannot do enough for you. And as I said in my earlier video, if you want to go to Vietnam, do it sooner rather than later, because as you could see, Starbucks, Big Mac, they're all moving in there, and in a couple of years it's just going to be ruined. Enjoy it while it's still Vietnam. And on that rather sanguine bombshell, this is the end of our journey in Vietnam, and the end indeed of this video. I hope you enjoyed it, but please join me for more video blogs on my channel. Bye bye.